Good day, everyone. My name is Mr. Chisum. So today we'll be looking at the thoracic vertebrae. We'll be looking at the thoracic vertebrae. The thoracic vertebrae is one of the bones that are found in the thorax. So it is between the cervical vertebrae and the lumbar vertebrae. So from here down to this point is the thoracic vertebrae. It lies, or it is one of the bones that are found in the thorax. And we have 12 thoracic vertebrae. That is to say that we have 12 thoracic vertebrae in the thorax. And the thoracic vertebrae are divided into two types. We have the typical thoracic vertebrae and we have the atypical. So typical thoracic vertebra simply means that these vertebrae have the same appearance or the same conformation. So this is an example of a typical thoracic vertebrae. So the typical thoracic vertebrae is from T2 down to T9. These are the typical thoracic vertebrae. So if you look at T2 here down to T9, they have the same conformation or they have the same appearance. But the atypical means that they are dissimilar or they do not look alike from the general appearance of the thoracic vertebrae. So you can look at this and notice the difference between this and this. So majority of the thoracic vertebrae appear to be like this. So they appear to be like this. While T1, T10 to 12 have a different appearance altogether. So we are going to be looking at some features in the typical thoracic vertebrae. So this is a typical thoracic vertebra. This is a typical thoracic vertebra. This is how it appears. So we are going to be looking at the important features in this typical thoracic vertebra. So we have the first feature here. This is known as the body of the thoracic vertebra. This feature here is known as the body. Then another important feature is this hole that is here. This hole is known as the vertebral foramen. This vertebral foramen gave passage to the spinal cord. It gave passage to the spinal cord and also the spinal nerves and spinal vessels. Also, another important feature is if you look at the body here, you will notice that there is a depression here, both on the superior and inferior side of the body. This depression here is known as the costal facet. So we have the superior costal facet here and the inferior costal facets here. So the both costal facets, the both of them are referred to as the superior and inferior costal facets. These costal facets gave or articulates with the tip of the rib to form the costovertebral joint. It articulates with the tip of the rib to form the costovertebral joint. So this feature here is referred to as the pedicle. This is the pedicle of the vertebra or the pedicle of the thoracic vertebra. This is it. Then another important feature is this depression here. This feature here or this depression is known as the articular facet. We have the superior articular facet, which is the one here, and when you turn it around, you see the inferior articular facet. So this is the superior articular facet, and when you turn it around, you see the inferior articular facet. So as a matter of fact, this articular facet, the superior and that of the inferior, it articulates with the thoracic vertebrae. That is to say that this is the facet that articulates with another thoracic vertebra. Another thoracic vertebra articulates here, and another thoracic vertebra articulates here. So this is the articulating point of the thoracic vertebra. So every thoracic vertebra joins with each other at this particular spot, and this particular spot inferiorly. Then another important feature is this feature here. This feature here, or before I go over that, this feature here is known as the transverse process. This is known as the transverse process of the vertebra. Having seen the transverse process, then this depression here on the tip of the transverse process is referred to as the transverse costal facet. So the transverse costal facet here, the transverse costal facet articulates with the posterior part of the ribs to form the costotransverse joint, to form the costotransverse joint. Then the next feature we have here is here. This is known as the lamina of the thoracic vertebrae. So this is the lamina of the thoracic vertebrae. Then why this feature here is the spinous process of the thoracic vertebrae. This is the spinous process of the thoracic vertebrae. So we've been able to see the features of the typical thoracic vertebrae, ranging from the body, the pedicle, the vertebral foramen, the lamina, and the spinous process. So we've come to the end of this teaching. I'll encourage you to subscribe to my YouTube channel, Learn with Chisom Great. Like this video, share this video to your friends, comment on this video. Thank you very much.